fucking the UV TV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Me and Nigga Featherman, yeah. Today I'm gonna be talking about breaking down asexuality. It's just having an awareness of being asexual organism, but you have a deficiency when it comes to reproductive. So being like, you know what I'm saying, being reproductive or having that reproductivity overall. So from you lacking that reproductivity, it's going to lead to energies of you basically lacking sexual attraction for the most part. And if I want to make it really simple, right, it's just you being too masculine and you lacking femininity. But I'm basically getting to all that. And then I know how y'all be looking at it like a sexual orientation and stuff like that, but we always have sex within the mind first. And I'm not trying to get on people who LGBTQ or like alphabet community and stuff like that, but these are the first seeds and starting points to, based upon how y'all be looking at stuff overall, it leads to stuff like that. I'm not even trying to come at it from a moral type of way of like what's wrong and right and stuff like that. I'm just explaining the spiritual essence of something and the natural process and mechanism and organization, so you know how to organize and make it so you're engineered in the right areas instead of being insufficient. And when it's insufficient, it's going to lead to different deficiencies or certain pipes being bursted instead of it going through the current piping system the way it's supposed to go, the way it's supposed to flow, instead of it being polluted water. And all that water is able to go through the faucet and come out clean and come out clear and stuff like that, so it's available to drink, or so you can cleanse and wash the dishes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just being independent of the sexual process. So having too much masculinity. Now, here's the sexual process, the simplest way of how to explain it and stuff like that. And then it leads to stuff how we talk about gender, like male, female, but y'all get lost between the men and women version of how it look like me being a man and then you seeing a woman with fat ass titties and a fat ass and stuff like that, and her having a twat or a pussy or a coochie and stuff like that, and me having a dick and balls, and me dropping my nuts about something, and me getting an erect, and her having an egg cell and me making sperm cells, seeds. So it's just you not understanding the sexual process and you lacking it. Now, we have sex within the mind first. So sex in general is just taking two or more different energies to create another energy, which is going to make it reproduce. Now, the lightest shape or form of what that is thoughts and feelings. Thoughts would be like the men or the atoms, and Eves will be the woman or the emotions and feelings. So it's expanding and containing. It's attention span and attraction. So based upon the masculine and feminine, externalizing and internalizing, that's the process. So that's when you have that sexual intercourse. So all the way down, so when y'all be like, oh yeah, she giving me brain, she giving me knowledge and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what that means, sexual intercourse. You're getting the knowledge, and you have to go do the knowledge, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Onyx. You gotta go do the knowledge, nigga. And once you do the knowledge, now you're gonna gain that wisdom. So that's when you end up learning from the knowledge, because knowledge is just knowledge. So that's you know what I'm saying? That's like balance. That's endless. That parameter is like it's gonna go on forever and ever. It's based upon the wisdom and the experience and the learning processes that you gain from your awareness. So you can be aware about something, but you don't know how to apply that know-how. You don't know how to apply what you're aware about. You don't know how to apply it in the right areas, which leads to stumbles and falls, and you going through certain situations that you probably didn't have to go through, and those that lack knowledge shall perish type shit. And from you lacking the knowledge of learning how to utilize your knowledge, that's you still lacking knowledge in some areas. You know what I'm saying? So like I was saying before, look at the masculine, like looking at the masculine type of energy, it's like thoughts and ideas. So it's intellectualizing. So having some type of meaning and reasoning and purpose, and you trying to create and build. And from you creating and building, you're gonna be the walking perception and the walking example of how something is gonna look like, and how something is going to be propped up, and how something is going to be seen. And then the internalizing or the femininity type of energy is you containing it and you condensing it and you hold it on to something, which is why men tend to not give a fuck about shit or don't like to care, and they like to intellectualize things and be emotionless. And women, they like to be emotional and having moisture, being absorbed into something, holding up something, nurturing and caring about something. So it's about the father sun and the mother moon, it going through the different moon phases and stuff like that in the different comfort zones, and then the sun being a representation of what the moon is already doing based upon the mood that it's in, type shit. And we see this in reality when it comes to astrology and in different sun pockets, from dawn till dusk, daybreak to the twilight zone, the spring, summer, fall, and winter, and it being of, you know what I'm saying, like the sun being in certain pockets during certain times of the year and stuff like that, which leads to things like, yeah, like what I was just saying, like spring, summer, and fall and winter. And it's just the sun being in certain positions in different geographical locations and producing the atmosphere in the ecosystem in the environment to make it produce certain things at certain seasons. So during the springtime, things are going to germinate and the seeds are going to start to flower and bloom and bud and sprout and grow and develop. And in the summertime, it's just the accumulation of what the spring is doing. So that's when things get brought to life and things are going to be more lively and thriving, and it's going to be more hot outside. So springtime is when things start to warm up. Summertime is when things start to get more hot, because it's just the accumulation of spring, of everything starting to bloom and grow. And that's the time to be more lively and being outside and being more spontaneous, so everyone can see your creativity and your imagination and stuff like that, and to make a comfort zone out of your expressions. And then fall time is when the leaves start to change colors and die out and deteriorate. And that's the peak maturity of what happened during the spring and summertime. So that's when harvest season starts to produce. So that's when you get all the crops and all the livestock and all the fruit, and bundle it up together to make it so you can survive the wintertime, which is just the accumulation of spring, summer, and fall. And that's when things become more cold, dead, and distant. But the first mechanism, or the first process of things starting to go through that cool down, is during the fall time, when things start to get a little bit more chill and cool, and the wind start blowing a little bit more, and it's not as hot outside, and them rainy days and October and stuff like that. So motherfuckers gonna be putting on long sleeve shirts and stuff like that, but they don't have to wear multi-layered type of clothing yet. You know what I'm saying? Like bubble coats and fur coats and stuff like that, and scarves. Well, they might put on scarves, but like you get what I'm trying to say. And then during the wintertime is when things become cold, dead, and distant, and frozen. And that's when things are more inactive. That's when things are more detached. That's when things are more inactive and people want to be indoors. And then during that cycle of the sun in the process, during that season and stuff like that, all the way down to Capricorns, Aquarius, and Pisces, they try to make things enticing even though it's going through that wintertime during that time. So as a collective, that's when things get initiated of how can we take that whole process in itself, and collectively how we're going to warm things up, or how we're going to prepare for things when springtime come around again, when things start to get warmed up. So it's spring, summer, fall, winter, warm, hot, cold, frozen, cold. You know what I'm saying? And going through that birth, life, death, evaporation. So during the wintertime, that's when things start to completely evaporate, and things already went through its course. And that's when you go through that whole entire process and mechanism. And it may be hard, but from you going through the whole process, that's how you going to end up being survivable. That's how you learn the natural mechanism of reproduction when it comes to your thoughts and feelings. And it goes all the way back to what this video is talking about, the sexual asexuality. So when it comes to asexuality, it's you lacking that. So you're not going through the whole process, and it's really you being too masculine, but you're not willing to go through the feminine energy. You're not willing to take care of something. You're not willing to develop it because you're being too detached. You're being in that I don't give a fuck, I don't care type of energy and stuff like that. You're being too logical. So it's gonna make you too stiff and unrelatable, and it's gonna make you come off what's the word? Like you're not in a high temperament. So from you being in a high temperament, you're going to be in a low temperament. So that's like you being low vibrational. You lack emotion. You lack a vibe. You lack something that people can be a part of. You lack attraction. You lack creativity. You lack charm. You lack what's the word? You lack sentience, so to speak. So it's you lacking imagination. So that's like you hitting what they call that? A writer's block. That's like you hitting a writer's block. Right? So if you hitting writer's block and you going through a dry spell, it's because you lack motivation, you lack inspiration, you lack movement, you lack emotion. You get it? You know what I'm saying? And an emotion is just you essentially moving, but it's the accumulation of an idea, and becoming a thought, and it basically becomes a feeling, and then after it becomes a feeling, it's going to become a specific emotion, and it's going to become an array of emotions. So you see how the whole thing in itself is like a process, and every single thing is like an accumulation of something. So it's something on a lighter scale, which is just the masculine. So light as in weight, not like light as in like photons and you seeing something a certain way, even though it is that too. But y'all get lost into the light spectrum of can I see? But spiritually, that's what you're doing and stuff like that. Can you actualize that visualization? Can you actualize that potential? Can you actualize that vision for the most part? And if you can't actualize it, that means you lack sufficient reproductive skills. You lack sexuality in some areas, when in actuality is you lacking sexual attraction. You lack the feminine part. You lack taking your attention span and what you gain an awareness about and what you concentrating on, and making people be drawn towards it. Because if you're drawn, because attraction is just drawing attention. So drawing is you taking something. So you don't know how to make people take something from what you're paying attention to. They can't take something from your attention span. They can't take something from your knowledge and wisdom, so to speak. They can't take something from how you see things, because you're getting overly absorbed into how everyone else see things, or you're getting overly absorbed in having the lack thereof of having something that people want to be a part of. So it's just you being unrelatable. So if you're unrelatable and you out of sync and you out of line and stuff like that, and you try to do things inverted, or you try to do things backwards, look at that as like when females be like, they go based upon female intuition, but they never want to think about something. That's you lacking the masculinity part. And you want to go things based upon a feeling, but you can't get a feeling without thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a feeling without going through the process of going through thoughts and ideas and sitting on it long enough so you can feel a way about it. And then eventually it's going to turn to a specific feeling, which is just an emotion, and it's going to have a whole bunch of different emotions. You thinking inverted, you thinking backwards. So you're going to go based upon how you feel, but you ain't thinking about the meaning and reasoning, or you trying to have some logic or intellectualize why you feel like that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, they go based upon a vibe, not based upon what created that vibe in the first place. So they don't think based upon building and creating. They're just thinking about holding on to something, retaining something, condensing something, containing something, and then that's it. So it's like me understanding, okay, look at it like how many videos I done made in like 10 months and stuff like that. I'm about to hit like 160 or some shit like that. I'll be paying attention, but like not paying attention at the same time. So it's kind of like, that lets you know I'm very productive, and I'm able to recreate the space. I'm able to recreate that creativity and stuff like that. That's like me making like 300 songs in like a year, and then next year I only drop 50 songs. So it's like me going through a dry spell and me going through that writer's block, but that means I'm lacking sexuality. I'm lacking sexual reproduction and stuff like that. I'm lacking sexual intercourse within the mind first, and it's gonna show based upon my productivity when it comes to what I'm doing in the physical world. So I'm not being that productive, and I don't know how to recreate it. But the only people get into that spot is because they lack substance. They just lack essence. They lack subject matter. They lack character. They lack inspiration. And it's about how they seeing it, not what they seeing. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what you're doing, it's how you doing it. That's why you lack it. That's why you lack that creativity. That's why you lack that charm. That's why you lack that charisma. That's why you lack that personality. Personality is just your piece of the sun. So that's why you lack attention span. That's why you lack shining your light. That's why you lack expression. That's why you lack all those different things. So that's when it leads to things like asexuality. So you are a sexual organism, and from you being an organism, you create new organs. You get it? So from you creating a new organ is based upon what the fuck I'm talking about right now. So from you creating a new organ, you planting a seed for something, just like a sperm cell, and then you germinating that seed until it gets soaked up into the egg cell and stuff like that, basically what females be doing, right? And you holding on and you retaining something, and that's how they end up getting pregnant, and that's why they're the child bearer and stuff like that. But the man is the person who's giving off the intention to direct the energy in a certain way, aka you need some dick and balls and drain from his fucking nutsack to make it so he can produce the seeds to go inside your womb and your pussy and stuff like that, aka cream pies and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? To make it so you can have a baby. So in general, right? And then on top of that, this is energies of how it leads to men being infertile and stuff like that. Well, women can too, but when men be infertile, it means you're infertile in the mind. It means you're dry in the mind. It means you lack sentience in the mind first. So it's always going to be a spirit, mind, body, external world concept. When y'all try to do things backwards, aka look at that as you trying to use things of the external world to please the flesh, using your flesh to please your mind, so you're going to use your mind to please the spirit. And from y'all doing it backwards type shit, that's when it leads to things of y'all be calling the mind, y'all be calling the spirit the mind. When the spirit ain't the mind, the spirit is no shape and form. It's incorporeal and it's immaterialized. It's just the state of awareness. It's just the state of being. It's something that's universal. So it's all of our different state of awarenesses and states of being for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's just your individual space, your individual state of being and spirit, and where you get it from. So from you lacking that, you'll confuse it and conflate it, and you'll be like, oh, the spirit is the mind. The spirit ain't the mind. It's just the spirit makes the mind, and then the mind makes the body, and then the body makes the external world. So your light body, your mind, is going to create your flesh, your organs, and stuff like that. But if you forget that process, you don't know how to make a new organ. You don't know how to make it reproduce. You don't know how to get that blood flow, adrenaline, and get inspired again to keep on making more and make your organs pump and survive and make it so you can wake up the next morning without having fucking arthritis or some shit like that, or Parkinson's disease, or you know what I'm saying, you going through organ failure. So from you going through that organ failure, it's just going to lead to you getting spiritually evaporated. You lack sentience. That's it. So from you lacking sentience, you lack spark, you lack birthing type of qualities, you lack development, you lack creative development, you lack creative direction and stuff like that, and you don't know how to retain it long enough. You end up moving on to the next thing. So if it's you being too masculine, you know how to start something, but you don't know how to finish. And if you being too feminine, you know how to mature, or you know how to end something and hold on to something, but you don't know where to start. So that's when you end up being all over the place, because you always have the wrong starting point. And then that's it. That's all. That's the simplest way how I can explain it. So from you lacking sexuality, well, that's basically what it is in a nutshell. So that's what asexuality is. So you just lack that. You're just devoid of that. And then it leads to, oh, I lack sexual attraction towards others. Yeah, you lack sexual attraction. Pay attention to the words. You lack attraction, nigga. You don't know how to make people be contained into your specific way of how you express yourself. You don't know how to make people be drawn, or you don't know how to charm someone enough. You don't know how to have that character. You don't know how to have that charisma to make people want to pay attention to what you're doing in the first place. So you lack sexual feelings in general. Yeah, you lack feelings and emotions, nigga. You act too dry. You try to intellectualize and pick something apart, and you don't know how to have a vibe and stuff like that. That's like you thinking in a scientific method type of way. You like think like what they call that, like people who think based upon methodology all the time and stuff like that. Oh, I need this method, and then without this method, I don't know how to act like myself and stuff like that. In general, the whole thing in itself is you know how to be yourself, even if you're around a million people. So if you don't know how to be yourself, and you don't know how to be yourself in a certain spectrum, in a certain environment, in a certain paradigm and stuff like that, that means you lack creativity. That means, so on a high percentage scale, you don't know yourself in certain areas, so you don't know how to act when you're inside certain environments. That's why it's important to have new experiences, so you can have a way or have a pocket to fulfill, or have something to motivate you, because you lack, you know what I'm saying? It's like you brightening something up. It's like you're in the dark about something, it's unknown, but from you acting on the unknown, that's you knowing more about it, just in general. So you're acting in the process of knowledge or knowing in general. And that's the highest magnitude of what that is. So even when you don't know, if you're acting on knowing what you don't know type shit, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like when you act on shit you don't know, or is unknown or unfamiliar to you, but you're trying to know about it anyway, that's you having actual knowledge. Just in general, you have the awareness of, oh yeah, there's some things I don't know, but I'm willing to try to figure it out anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's the simplest way how to do it. Instead of you acting on things you don't know, and then you end up not knowing shit about it, and then motherfuckers end up taking advantage about what you don't know and stuff like that. No, it's like you already know what you're doing. You know that you don't know about the situation just in general, but you still trying to figure it out, compared to a motherfucker of you always not knowing about nothing, and then people end up taking advantage of the fact of you not knowing about nothing type shit. So you're always gonna have an awareness, but it's you learning from your awarenesses, is you learning from your experiences. So it's kind of like, yeah, you know, you don't know shit about it and it's unknown to you, but you're not trying to learn anything from it though. You ain't trying to know more about it. You just like sticking into that energy of, nah, I don't know, shit. So asexuality is just, yeah, you not experiencing sexual attraction and sexual desire. So that's when you have to learn more of that femininity of you nurturing and taking care of something, and you taking care of the motherland, you trying to uphold something. You know what I'm saying? It's like taking care of the household and stuff like that, which leads to societal norms and dichotomies of the female taking care of the household and then the man going out to create and provide a situation to make something the woman can basically take care of in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So from you being more attractive, that's like you learning how to be more seductive. You making someone more enticed. You making someone more tempted to actually go do it. From them being inspired in your way of how to do it in general. So from you holding on to something is gonna make something last for a long period of time. And from you being into that sexual desires are like demons. Don't get lost into the words that I'm saying. It's like a mechanism. So it's something that's angelic. So if it's the opposite of demons is something angelic. So it's like you doing it from a higher angle, and then something demonic is you doing something from a lower angle. But it's you going through the whole mechanism, the positive and the negative. And then you have to understand it's not about life working for you or against you. So it working for you, it going positive, it working against you, it being negative, it's working through you. So it's you understanding the economy in the you having that spiritual discernment of telling the difference. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go through the highs and the lows. I'm gonna go through the positives and the negatives, but I'm still gonna try to retain what I'm doing, even if it's going my way or not. So you can be in that perspective of each one teach one type of energy, and dream work, make the teamwork type of energy. So even if it's going your favor or not, you learn something from it, and that's you actually getting that knowledge of you willing to fail, and you being able to fail is going to lead to, on a higher percentage scale, you being able to win and it going more in your favor, because you understand the spiritual discernment of you telling the difference. It's not about an ego. It's not about a specific way of how to go about it. It can go about it in a multitude of different ways. So is you just budding and developing something. Yeah, you doing a new development or some new seed, some new creation, some new type of offspring, and sex is just taking two or more different energies to create another energy from you being able to keep on reproducing and it going through its sexual intercourse, attention, attraction, masculine, feminine, creating, containing, expansion, contraction, expressing, repressing, perception and reception, or receiving, giving out, producing, and like receiving, taking in something for the most part. Yeah, giving and taking. So you have to give something first, and then you take something from what you just gave. It's just people, based upon their own perception, they confuse reception with, they be confusing their perceptions with receptions. No, it's not you having your own outlook or perception. You're only having the receiving end or something, and then you end up receiving your outlook of how you look at it based upon what you just received type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like perception, like true perception is you seeing and feeling about it a certain way, and you ain't thinking about how it's going to be received in general. You're not on the receiving end of something, and then you basically like responding to what you just to what you just received. No, it's you seeing and perceiving something first, and your own way of expressing or looking at it without worrying about how it's going to be received or what you just took in. It's just, oh, this is how I see it, and then we go from there type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, when you be lacking sexual attraction or sexual feelings and sexual desires, it just means you lacking femininity. So you basically, you lack desire, you lack feeling, you lack dissension, you basically lack, you know what I'm saying? Like you lack making a womb, you lack care, you lack nurturing qualities for the most part. You lack absorption, you lack soaking up something. You lack trying to, you know what I'm saying, like take in, receive, soak up game, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to hold on to it for a long period of time to catch a vibe, and you do something just for the sake of it feeling good type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not doing it for the sake of the feeling, even if it feel bad, but you're doing it just to get it off. You're doing it for the sake of, I want to know how this feel when I do this. You know what I'm saying? And then some people be taking that too far when they only go based upon how they feel. And then that's when it leads to stuff in situations of when women be talking about going off of female intuition and stuff like that, when it's not about your bitch ass feelings or being in your feelings all the time and stuff like that. Sometimes it's about intellectualizing. Sometimes it's about your logic. And then you end up having the true common sense. So you having the common mentality because you understand your men. You know what I'm saying? Because manifesting is just festering men, the men and the women, the Adams and Eves, your thoughts and feelings. So from you having the common mentality, you know the actuality of what your men is doing, your men and your woman, your thoughts and feelings, and you know where it's going. And then that's it. So, like the minute you start being in that perspective of going based upon emotion and you being in a thought, I mean not in a thought, in an emotion and feeling, and you being in your feelings and stuff like that, it clouds your judgment. So from you having that clouded judgment, you don't know how to see things more clearly, or you don't know how to create another space. You don't know how to put yourself in another direction. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to put yourself in another circumstance. You only getting clouded up from what you already experiencing, and you making it too heavy instead of it being light. Light would be like the masculine, and then heaviness will be like the feminine energy. So from you making it so heavy, it's like you have an emotional baggage and emotional weight, and you know what I'm saying? It ends up weighing down on you spiritually speaking, and ends up weighing you down on you mentally speaking. So from you holding on to it so much, it's like that new Spider-Man movie and stuff like that. That's all that shit was talking about. In Spider-Man Brand New Day and stuff like that, he kept on holding on to what he experienced, and he kept on caring so much about hurting the people that he loved and stuff like that, to the point to where it started to fuck up his hormones and stuff like that when it comes to his Spider-Man mutant side and stuff like that. And he ended up developing a whole bunch of different new powers and stuff like that as a reaction, and it kept on going through different extremes because you wasn't being balanced. Some of that shit you need to learn how to let that shit go instead of you holding on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it is. So anybody who's asexual, no, you are a sexual organism, otherwise your bitch ass wouldn't be alive right now. From you being sentient based upon thoughts and feelings, because it's an accumulation of what your spirit is doing. Your spirit like to emanate, it like to create experiences, it like to create observations, it like to create thoughts and feelings and shapes and forms. And then your lighter shape and form is your mind, and then your physical second body, physical shape and form is your body, and it being an organ, and then your organism. So you have to organize your organs, and yeah, is you organizing your organs as an organism so you can have true engineering, organization, reproductivity, so things get applied in the right areas, so you don't have hormonal imbalance, and then you don't be all over the place and stuff like that. And then when you start having health issues, it's because you're not caring about your spiritual well-being and your spiritual health, which leads to your mental well-being and your mental health being fucking trash, and it's going to lead to your physical health and your physical well-being being trash. And then everyone else can see that in the external world, and we make up a whole bunch of different false pharmaceutical pills and stuff like that to try to help it synthetically, instead of you understanding the natural essence and the natural, organic, pure way of how to do it, which is just being yourself. And then that's it. So it's just you understanding how to make yourself more a part of something, feminine energy, instead of making yourself to alone, independent, separate. There's nothing wrong with being independent or self-sufficient, so you can have that freedom and free flowing, and for you to utilize your free will to put yourself in a whole bunch of different pockets and stuff like that. But is you understanding how to hold on to a pocket instead of being too all over the place, for the most part, because that's what it means when it comes to you being too masculine. You're too all over the place, and then you don't know what direction you're going in, for the most part. So you know how to create it, but you don't know how to finish it. So you need to learn how to get that maintain type of energy, which is going to lead to you making yourself a part of something. And then it's not always going to be it's not always going to be premeditated or predicated towards an ego or a bias based upon what you're trying to express, and you trying to be independent on it. So look at that as like masturbation. It's like you be on your own dick about something, but you ain't gonna have no pussy that's gonna get on your dick. Or if you're a female and stuff like that, that's like you be on your own twat, your own pussy, big pussy energy and stuff like that, but ain't no nigga wanna breathe inside your pussy type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody want to be a part of your container. Anybody want to be involved with what you got going on and stuff like that. And then it's going to turn into, oh, how come no man want me and stuff like that? How come I'm not being sought after? Because of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you act too masculine in certain areas to make it so you're not even giving a motherfucker a chance to try to feed into whatever you got going on and stuff like that, because you didn't make that man feel needed, so to speak. So the masculine energy would be like being wanted, Well, the masculine wants to understand, or the man wants to understand the feminine energy, so they want to learn how to be more needed. And then women want to understand how to be sought after or wanted or seen in a certain way, which is just a masculine type of energy. So needs are just the accumulation of a whole bunch of different wants for the most part. So you're not even giving them a chance to show in general or to contain.